Hello and welcome to Top Knot Education, where you get insight and summary into the chapter of a classic novel in under 5 minutes. Today we will be talking about J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye, Chapter 6. Chapter 6 begins with Strad Ladder returning from the date with Jane. If you remember, Holden loves Jane, or at least cares deeply about her, and so he's filled with worry that Strad Ladder didn't treat her very well. He calls Strad Ladder unscrupulous, and in a later chapter even suggests Strad Ladder ignores consent and keeps trying even when a girl says no. Strad Ladder's footsteps ring ominously across the linoleum floor. We never learn specifically how the date went. When Holden asks him about it, Strad Ladder says, "That's a professional secret." But the careful reader can see that Strad Ladder did not have a good time. He is in a bad mood and complains about everything, including how quickly Jane ended the date. In fact, we can even presuppose that any girl who would care about and like Holden probably wouldn't be too interested in a selfish person like Strad Ladder, no matter how yearbook handsome he was. Holden has done Strad Ladder's homework for him. In fact, he's written something very personal about his dead brother's baseball glove, but Strad Ladder isn't thankful. In fact, he complains that Holden did the work wrong. Holden tears up the essay, which also angers Strad Ladder because even if it was wrong, he still planned to turn it in. Holden fishes around for more details about the date, and Strad Ladder says that they just sat in the car. The car belongs to Ed Banky, the basketball coach. Holden tells us that all the athletic types stick together, and the coach would loan out his car to basketball players like Strad Ladder. This sports analogy is an interesting connection to Holden standing on the hill separate from the football game, and even old Spencer's warning that life is a game and you've got to play by the rules. Strad Ladder is good at the game, he's good at multiple games, and he reaps the rewards. Holden refuses to play, and he pays the cost. Holden asks flatly if Strad Ladder gave Jane the time at old Banky's car. It's a 1940s era euphemism for sex. This is when Strad Ladder refuses to give the details, and Holden takes a swing at him. Here's the quote. "This next part I don't remember so hot. All I know is I got up from bed like I was going to go down to the can or something, and then I tried to sock him with all my might, right smack in the toothbrush, so it would split his goddamn throat open. Only I missed. I didn't connect. All I did was sort of get him on the side of the head or something. It probably hurt him a little bit, but not as much as I wanted." Holden basically tries to kill Strad Ladder. His attack is totally unacceptable for the circumstances, especially because Strad Ladder lacks the emotional skills to understand what Holden is going through. To Strad Ladder's credit, he doesn't fight back. He tackles Holden and holds him down and waits for him to calm down. Holden, pinned, continues the attack with a much more ferocious weapon, his mouth and his insight into people's character. He keeps insulting Strad Ladder as aggressively as he can, and he eventually lands on the right insult. "He kept holding on to my wrists, and I kept calling him a son of a bitch and all for around 10 hours. I can hardly even remember what all I said to him. I told him he thought he could give the time to anyone he felt like. I told him he didn't even care if a girl kept all their kings in the back row or not, and the reason he didn't care was because he was a goddamn stupid moron. He hated it when you called him a moron. All morons hate it when you called him a moron." It's interesting to note that while he is pinned on the floor screaming and crying, Holden lies to himself and to us, the reader. He keeps saying that he really had Strad Ladder going, meaning, in short, that he was winning the argument. He wasn't. And Strad Ladder is unusually mature in not reacting to Holden's initial attacks, even letting him stand up if he promises to settle down. The careful reader will gain a smidgen of respect for Strad Ladder during this conflict, while also understanding the depth of Holden's sadness, loneliness, and emotional turmoil. Strad Ladder is worried he's really hurt Holden. He leaves the room and the novel, telling Holden to wash his face. Holden digs around for his red hunting hat, hides under it, and goes and looks for Ackley. And that's it for Chapter 6. Get to class.